I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. Now, this video is part of a series of videos we do here at the MeidasTouch network that I believe are probably the most important videos that we post. And here we highlight former Republicans who have left the party because the party has left them. The Republican Party has become the MAGA Republican Party, way too extreme. It is the party of Donald Trump and the party that wants to destroy our democracy. We also highlight the stories of independents and people who are not affiliated with any political party, who can no longer even think about voting for the modern day Republican Party because of their extremism. I want to highlight these stories right here, and I want to mention this because sometimes we're told, but are you preaching to the choir? No. We are preaching to a coalition of people who love our country and love our democracy. And we may disagree on issues, but fundamentally we know we need to protect and preserve our democracy from the modern day MAGA Republicans. And we'll start off, I just want to show you a video. Here's what I mean. This is a video of Liz Cheney, and in this speech, it's a commencement speech that Liz Cheney recently gave, and she talks about her obligation to our Constitution. Play this clip.
No party, no nation, no people can defend and perpetuate a constitutional republic if they accept leaders who have gone to war with the rule of law, with the democratic process, with the Constitution itself. That is the threat that we face today, and the outcome is far from certain. It's easy sometimes to imagine that our country, that our institutions, that our freedoms are self-sustaining. They are not. Each of us must resolve to defend them. You must not assume that someone else will do the work. If you doubt how important you are, think about this. Cleta Mitchell, an election denier and an advisor to former President Trump, told a gathering of Republicans recently that it is crucially important to make sure that college students don't vote. Those who are trying to unravel the foundations of our republic, who are threatening the rule of law and the sanctity of our elections, know they can't succeed if you vote. So class of 2023, get out and vote.
Now look, I probably disagree with Liz Cheney on a number of issues, and I probably disagree with her strongly on many, many, many issues. But at the end of the day, I know that she cares about our democracy. She is someone who is legitimately a conservative, and we can have conversations and disagree, but fundamentally agree with objective reality, the truth, and support of our democracy. But before I show you some of these stories of people who are leaving the Republican Party or who have left the Republican Party, and those stories have been shared with us, compare what I just showed you, the Liz Cheney speech, with this, the modern day MAGA Republican Party. This is Ron DeSantis, I think, saying the term woke 7 times, I think in 25 seconds. This was at a recent campaign speech he gave last week. Play this clip.
Woke represents a war on truth, so we pledge to wage a war on woke. We will fight the woke in education. We will fight the woke in the corporations, and we will fight the woke in the halls of Congress. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. We are going to leave woke ideology in the dustbin of history where it belongs.
All right, so you've got Ron DeSantis, MAGA Republican, and here you have Donald Trump at this propaganda event that Fox held where Donald Trump is asked questions by Sean Hannity about the government records that he stole, and his response is that President Biden hides documents in Chinatown and they like China in Chinatown. Play this clip.
I have the right to declassify as president. He's got 1,850 boxes that he doesn't want anyone to see. He had 7 or 8 boxes in Chinatown In Washington, D.C., where nobody even speaks English in Chinatown, Chinatown is it's in favor of China.
Okay, fundamentally, these clips that I showed you, Liz Cheney is actually someone who is a conservative. Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, there's nothing conservative about those views. Those views are deranged and dangerous and a combination of fascism meets idiocracy. Here's just another anecdote that I will show you. Here is the cover from the New York Post, or a prominent story that was posted by the New York Post, rather. And they wrote, "Rage Against the Machines, Tom Morello ripped for anti-Nazi post." Okay, they are attacking Rage Against the Machine, Tom Morello, because he posted the following. Morello wrote, here's a German saying, "If 9 people sit down at a table with one Nazi without protest, there are 10 Nazis at the table." And people are ripping him for that. And it's not people, it's the MAGA Republicans who are telling on themselves. And that becomes a major story by the New York Post. And just so you also see the types of things that they are posting, this is a MAGA Republican influencer. Her name is Morgan McMichael, and she talks about how she is now boycotting Chick-fil-A, which she says is no longer the, quote, Lord's Chicken, because Chick-fil-A has hired somebody within their environmental, social, and governance department, ESG department. And then she says that Chick-fil-A gets its ingredients from BlackRock, the private equity firm, because MAGA Republicans believe BlackRock is too woke because it has ESG policy. I can't even keep track. Watch this video that she posted. It's been viewed millions of times.
So I'm grieving. It's lunchtime. I'm here with Aubrey, and we really wanted some Chick-fil-A, but because they decided to hire a diversity, equity, and inclusion corporate position and also bow down to the woke lords because of their ESG scores. And also I found out, do you know this? Their chicken is funded by BlackRock and Vanguard.
Are you kidding?
Yeah,
Oh.
their farms. They use Tyson and this other farm. BlackRock and Vanguard funded chicken. Chick-fil-A, you are no longer the Lord's chicken. You're actually the woke chicken. And I'm really upset about it as a Christian woman. All we wanted was some good fried chicken. So now we're gonna go to Cane's. We're gonna try it out. This is really difficult because there's a Chick-fil-A across the street. I'm now eating chicken fingers instead of chicken nuggets. I know, first world Christian woman problems. No one will ever understand the love that I had for Chick-fil-A. I got my sweet tea with a lemon, and you know, we're taking this boycott Chick-fil-A thing seriously, and it's really difficult. I got a 4-finger box combo, extra fries, crispy cane sauce.
So now let's take a look at the stories of former Republicans and independents and people not affiliated with political parties. These are stories they've shared with us. Now, if you can, share your story in the description below. If this is a story that resonates with you, if you've left the Republican Party, or if you have a family member, friend, colleague, coworker, or just somebody you know who left the Republican Party, or who's an independent, or someone not affiliated with a political party who no longer can support this Republican Party because they are too extreme and they are led by Donald Trump. Here, Mark Urbanski writes, "I was an independent voter since January 6th. I am now a registered Democrat and will not vote for any Republican come 2024 and beyond. Vote blue, wave everyone." Poodles for You writes, "I was a lifelong Republican until Trump was elected. The GOP has gotten worse since Trump. I will never vote GOP again." Diana writes, "I was raised a Republican in Maricopa County. My parents told me that Nixon was a great president. I graduated from BYU, a very conservative red Republican religious university. I was living in Florida when Obama first ran for president. That was when I left the Republicans. I couldn't justify or excuse the rabid Tea parties, but no, I just switched to independent. When Trump ran, I thought it was too ridiculous to be taken seriously. No thinking person would vote for him. I thought certainly no evangelical Christians. I voted for my sister's Rottweiler. I became a Democrat when Trump won, and while I am still a Christian, I no longer align myself with evangelicals. I think we have betrayed our charter to love our neighbors as ourselves, all our neighbors. I was a Democrat monitor for First Audit in Georgia. I will always be proud to be a part of that piece of history. Thank you for doing that, Diana, and thanks for sharing. Thomas Maynard writes, I voted Republican from the time I joined the Marine Corps in 1987. I'm now 54 and am now an independent. The Republican Party lost me forever when all of them voted against the PACT Act. I was at Camp Lejeune and now have Parkinson's and developed rectal cancer at the age of 48. These so-called Republicans used us for pawns in their game. Well, after losing my rectum, having to deal with a colostomy bag, and all that comes with Parkinson's, it's no game to me. There's nothing they can do to regain my trust. I'm sure I'm not the only veteran that feels this way. My father's Republican Party is dead. Thomas, thank you for your service, and thank you for sharing that with all of us here at the MeidasTouch community. Tammy Zeller writes, I am fiscally conservative who supports freedom and human rights. While I am a registered Republican, I look at the candidate and hear their message to make my choice. I am often voting lesser of two evils, but it is an important vote. Sad fact is that either a Democrat or a Republican will be selected. Most voters are programmed that way. If you do not vote, write and vote outside these two parties at this point, I believe it is a wasted vote. This may deliver dire results for our country. I voted Trump the first time and never again. I voted Biden and was so impressed by what he and the Democratic House and Senate were able to accomplish against all odds in 2 years. I will vote Democrat down the line to continue to experience that goodness. There is no other Republican candidate that is in tune with what is most important to all Americans. Thank you for sharing. Kat Moore goes, I am an independent, but have voted for both parties at various times. I was so disgusted when John McCain asked Sarah Palin to be his VP that I was truly soured on the Republican Party. The way they have pandered to the extremist side of their party is sickening. Today's GOP's promotion of anarchy and violence is totally unacceptable. I will never vote Republican again. KD writes, I'm a middle-class man who was a staunch conservative and Republican my entire life. I'm 68 years old now. As of 2016, I can no longer support the Republican Party because of Donald Trump. I will never vote for another Republican in my life. Diane Trenier writes, my husband, let's call him Billy Bob, was a staunch fiscally conservative Republican. I am an independent that works from home. I started watching congressional committee and vote sessions. After I shared over and over what congressional Republicans were really saying, not the talking heads on the misinformation Fox channel, he was disgusted. Then the orange bad man was voted in. I warned anyone who would listen to believe every accusation he accuses someone else of is an act he has done himself. 2020, my husband asked me to down ballot X and out any politician that was a persistent Trumplican minion. He has been an independent voter ever since. Leanne and Nen writes, my boyfriend at 68 years old never got involved in politics, never voted. Trump running in 2020 caused him to register and vote Joe Biden. So proud of him. Another person writes, I was a Republican for 40 years. I even voted for Trump in 2016. In 2020, I switched to Democrat. Richard Duig writes, my dad was a lifelong Republican, 20 years in the Army, a life in the steel industry. He was an old school conservative, fiscally conservative, but not socially. Dad thought everyone should vote no matter for whom. He wasn't anti-gay or anti-immigration. He would not recognize the GOP these days. Living near New York and having friends and family in New York City for years, we all knew Trumps were con men and grifters. Everyone in the state knew that. All of these stories give me hope. Thank you. Finally, Andrew Stevens writes, I don't belong to any party, and up until 2015, I used to vote for the person who was the most skilled and effective for the job or position. But when the MAGA GOP started to sponsor people who had no experience or skill to do the job, that's when I did something that I never thought I'd do. Vote straight party ticket for the Democrats. You can see exactly how bad these people with no skill or experience are at trying to do even the most simple of duties that they were elected to perform for the job. Voting for people just because of their political affiliation was a disaster just waiting to happen. I want to thank everybody for sharing their stories, and I just also want you to think about what the MAGA Republicans talk about every day. What can they destroy? What can they break down? What group can they hate the most? What corporation can they attack? Meanwhile, you have the Democratic Party, which I just consider to be this broad coalition now of progressives, liberals, real conservatives, independents, people not affiliated with political parties. We could all disagree, but let's focus on issues that matter to the American people, that matter to you. Let's focus on jobs and better wages and health care and lowering prescription drug prices and protecting our veterans and protecting our seniors and protecting Social Security and protecting Medicare and supporting equality and supporting a woman's right to control her body. Let's focus on all of those issues. And here's the stuff that I'm excited about. Jobs, jobs, jobs. The U.S. just added 339,000 jobs in May, surging past the 190,000 expected. And for those keeping track, that's more than 13 million jobs added since President Biden took office. That's the type of things that we talk about here on the MeidasTouch Network. So do me a favor. If you have a story like the ones I've read, please share them in the description below, in the comment section below. We'd be very grateful for that. And thanks for watching. Hit subscribe on this YouTube video. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers thanks to your incredible support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch for some great content there as well. And check us out as well wherever audio podcasts are available. Just subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast. Have a great day.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.